At 67, Patricia watched her retirement savings dwindle from $400,000 to just $80,000 in 3 years. Her mistake? She said yes to every request from her adult children. Sound familiar? If you're retired or approaching retirement, the next 12 minutes could save your financial future and your sanity. We're revealing the 7 things you should never give your grown children if you want to protect your peace, your money, and your golden years. Number 4 will shock you. It's the one mistake that destroys more parent-child relationships than divorce. But first, let me ask you this. How many times this week have you felt guilty for saying no to your kids? I'm sharing this because too many beautiful souls in our community are sacrificing their well-deserved peace for adult children who should be standing on their own feet. Patricia's story isn't unique. She's one of thousands who contacted us after realizing they'd given away their security trying to help kids who never learned to help themselves. Here's what happened. Her 35-year-old son needed just $30,000 for a business venture. Her 40-year-old daughter required emergency daycare money monthly. Before Patricia knew it, she was choosing between groceries and medications. The saddest part, her children still weren't happy, and she'd lost her peace entirely. If you've ever felt that knot in your stomach when your phone rings because you know it's another request for money, time, or energy you don't have, this video is for you. Today we're drawing boundaries that will save your relationships and your retirement. Drop a heart in the comments if you're ready to reclaim your peace, and let's dive into the first thing you must stop giving immediately. Number 1, your emergency fund. Your emergency fund is your lifeline, not your family's ATM machine. Meet Frank, a 72-year-old retired electrician from Ohio. Frank had carefully saved $50,000 for true emergencies, medical bills, home repairs, or unexpected expenses. But when his 45-year-old daughter Lisa faced foreclosure, Frank couldn't bear the thought of his grandchildren being homeless. He gave her $25,000. 6 months later, Lisa needed another $15,000 for legal fees. Within a year, Frank's emergency fund was gone. Then the unthinkable happened. Frank needed emergency heart surgery, and his insurance didn't cover everything. He had to take out loans at 18% interest because his safety net had vanished. Here's the brutal truth. Your adult children's poor financial planning is not your emergency. When you consistently bail them out, you're not helping. You're enabling a cycle of financial irresponsibility that will never end. Your emergency fund exists to protect you in your most vulnerable years. The moment you treat it as family charity, you've put yourself at risk. Statistics show that 68% of retirees who deplete their emergency funds for family end up facing their own financial crises within 2 years. The average cost of unexpected medical expenses for seniors exceeds $15,000 annually. Can you afford to be caught without resources? Have you ever dipped into your emergency savings for your kids? Share your experience below. You're not alone in this struggle. Remember, saying no to depleting your emergency fund isn't selfish. It's survival. Your children may be disappointed, but they'll adapt and find other solutions. You, however, cannot afford to be caught without resources when life inevitably throws you curveballs in your golden years. Your future security depends on this boundary. Number 2, free unlimited childcare. Grandchildren are blessings, but unlimited free babysitting is a curse that will steal your retirement dreams and destroy your health. Consider Martha, a 69-year-old grandmother from Texas who thought she'd travel and pursue painting after retirement. Instead, she became a full-time unpaid nanny for her daughter's 3 children while her daughter got back on her feet professionally. That was 4 years ago. Martha's back aches constantly. Her social life disappeared, and she hasn't held a paintbrush since 2019. Her daughter saves $2,400 monthly on daycare, while Martha's health deteriorates from exhaustion. The most heartbreaking part? When Martha finally asked for one weekend off to visit her sister, her daughter accused her of being selfish and not caring about family. This scenario repeats across America daily. Medical experts warn that full-time childcare responsibilities after age 65 significantly increase risks of depression, anxiety, and physical health problems. You raised your children? That job is complete. Your retirement years aren't meant for raising grandchildren full-time unless it's truly an emergency situation with clear boundaries and end dates. Unlimited childcare creates entitled adult children who never learn to manage their responsibilities independently. It also robs you of the energy and time you need for your own health, relationships, and dreams. The National Institute on Aging recommends that seniors limit high-stress activities to preserve cognitive function and physical well-being. Set clear boundaries. Perhaps you'll babysit once or twice a week for a few hours, but not become the primary caregiver. Your adult children chose to have children. The responsibility remains theirs. Tell us in the comments, are you currently providing more childcare than you want to? What toll is it taking on your health and happiness? It's time to have an honest conversation about reasonable limits that respect both your love for your grandchildren and your fundamental need for personal time and energy preservation. Number 3, your credit score and co-signing. Your credit score took decades to build. Don't let your adult child destroy it in months and ruin your financial future. Gerald, a 74-year-old retiree from Florida, learned this lesson the hard way. His 38-year-old son needed a co-signer for a $40,000 car loan, promising he'd never miss a payment. Gerald, proud of his 780 credit score, signed without hesitation. 4 months later, his son lost his job and stopped making payments. Gerald's credit score plummeted to 620, affecting his ability to refinance his home and secure favorable rates on necessary loans. The worst part? His son declared bankruptcy, leaving Gerald responsible for the entire debt on a car he'd never driven. Now Gerald pays $847 monthly for a vehicle that sits in his son's driveway while his son drives a different car. Co-signing isn't just about money, it's about risking your financial reputation that you've spent a lifetime building. At your age, you have limited time to recover from credit damage. A poor credit score affects everything from insurance rates to housing options, potentially forcing you into financial products with terrible terms when you can least afford it. Federal Trade Commission data reveals that 40% of co-signers end up paying some or all of the debt, and 25% suffer significant credit score damage. Your adult children need to build their own credit history through their own responsible choices and mistakes. When you co-sign, you're not teaching responsibility. You're enabling them to take risks they wouldn't take with their own credit alone because they know you'll bear the consequences. Can you afford that risk with your fixed retirement income and limited recovery time? Have any of you been asked to co-sign for your adult children? What was your decision and outcome? Remember, a true emergency that requires co-signing should come with full financial transparency, detailed repayment plans, and collateral that protects your interests. Not just good intentions and guilt trips. Number 4, your primary residence. This is the shocking one that destroys families. Never let your adult child move back into your home without crystal clear boundaries, timelines, and consequences. Rose, a 71-year-old widow from Michigan, thought she was being loving when she let her 42-year-old unemployed son move back home temporarily after his divorce. That was 3 years ago. He pays no rent, contributes nothing to groceries or utilities, leaves messes everywhere, brings dates over at all hours, plays loud music past midnight, and has made no serious effort to find stable employment. Rose feels like a prisoner in her own home, afraid to use her living room or kitchen when he's around. Her sleep is constantly disrupted, her utility bills have doubled, and she's lost her privacy, peace, and sense of control over her own space. Her other children resent the situation and visit less frequently, destroying family harmony. Rose's blood pressure has increased, and she's developed anxiety symptoms for the first time in her life. Here's what most parents don't realize. Adult children who move back home without clear expectations and enforcement rarely leave voluntarily. Why would they? Free housing, utilities, food, internet, and no responsibilities create a comfort zone that's impossible to replicate in the real world. Your home should be your sanctuary in retirement, not a halfway house for adults who refuse to launch properly into independence. Housing an adult child without boundaries often leads to elder abuse, not physical but financial and emotional manipulation that devastates your golden years. If you must allow an adult child to return home, establish these non-negotiables immediately: a written lease agreement with specific move-out date, monthly rent payment regardless of employment status, household contribution expectations, including chores and utilities, strict guest policies, job search requirements with weekly documented progress, and consequences for violations. Most importantly, stick to these boundaries regardless of tears, manipulation, threats, or guilt trips. Your peace of mind in your own home isn't negotiable. It's essential for your mental and physical health. Are you currently housing an adult child who's overstayed their welcome and disrupted your peace? You're not alone, and it's never too late to establish firm boundaries that benefit everyone involved. Number 5. Unlimited financial bailouts. Chronic financial bailouts don't help your children. They cripple their ability to develop financial responsibility, problem-solving skills, and genuine independence. Vincent, a 73-year-old retired teacher from Oregon, calculated that he'd given his 3 adult children over $180,000 in emergency money over 8 years. Car repairs, credit card debt, medical bills, rent payments, utility shut-offs, legal fees. There was always a crisis requiring immediate rescue. Despite all this financial help, his children's situations never improved. In fact, they deteriorated because they knew Dad would always swoop in to save them. Vincent finally realized he wasn't helping. He was enabling a destructive pattern that kept his children financially immature and dependent. Meanwhile, he depleted his retirement accounts and was now struggling to afford his own medications and home maintenance. The psychology behind chronic bailouts is devastating for both generations. When you consistently solve your adult children's financial problems, you rob them of crucial opportunities to develop life skills like budgeting, prioritizing, creative problem-solving, and learning from natural consequences. They never experience the motivation that comes from genuine financial pressure because rescue is always guaranteed. Research from financial therapy experts shows that adults who receive regular bailouts from parents are 60% more likely to experience financial difficulties throughout their lives compared to those who learned independence early. Every dollar you give in unnecessary bailouts is a dollar you might desperately need for your own medical care, home modifications, long-term care insurance, or unexpected expenses that increase with aging. The average retiree faces $300,000 in healthcare costs not covered by Medicare. Can you afford to give that money away? Set a strict annual limit for financial help, perhaps $500 or $1,000 maximum, and communicate this boundary clearly. Better yet, offer non-monetary support, help them create realistic budgets, research community resources, practice job interview skills, or brainstorm practical solutions. True love sometimes means letting them feel the natural consequences of their financial choices. When they can't pay rent, they learn to budget better, find additional income, or choose less expensive housing. Have you found yourself repeatedly bailing out the same adult child? What patterns have you noticed in their behavior after each rescue? Share below. Recognizing the cycle is the first crucial step to breaking this destructive pattern for everyone's benefit. Your retirement dreams aren't selfish luxuries. They're the hard-earned rewards you've sacrificed decades to achieve, and abandoning them for adult children's problems teaches them terrible life lessons. Maria, a 68-year-old retired nurse from Arizona, had always dreamed of traveling in an RV with her husband across America. They'd saved $45,000 specifically for this adventure, researched routes, and planned their departure for years. But when their daughter divorced and needed temporary help with childcare and monthly bills, Maria postponed the dream just for 1 year. 5 years later, Her husband's Parkinson's diagnosis made travel impossible, and their dream became a painful reminder of opportunities lost forever. Maria spent her healthiest retirement years managing her daughter's chaotic life instead of living her own carefully planned dreams. She now watches travel shows with deep regret, knowing that window has permanently closed. The medical reality is harsh. Your dreams have expiration dates tied directly to your health, energy, mobility, and cognitive function. Unlike your adult children who have decades ahead, you cannot assume endless opportunities to pursue postponed goals. Every year you delay retirement dreams may be a year you'll never recover, especially as age-related health issues increase after 70. The cruel irony is that sacrificing your dreams rarely creates the positive outcomes you hope for. Your children don't magically become more responsible, grateful, or independent. Instead, they often become more demanding and entitled because they've learned that emotional manipulation and crisis creation successfully derail your life plans. Your retirement dreams serve multiple crucial purposes. They provide motivation, joy, purpose, and mental stimulation that's essential for healthy aging. They also model for your children that responsible adults create goals, save money, and work systematically toward their objectives. Lessons they desperately need to learn. When you abandon your carefully planned dreams to solve their self-created problems, you're inadvertently teaching them that poor planning should be rewarded and that others should sacrifice their goals to fix their mistakes. Start planning and booking your dreams immediately, not someday. Make non-refundable deposits, set firm departure dates, and create accountability systems that make backing out financially and emotionally difficult. Inform your adult children about your concrete plans so they understand you're not available as their perpetual backup plan and must develop their own solutions. What retirement dreams have you postponed or abandoned for your adult children's ongoing crises? It's time to reclaim them before it's too late. Share your dreams below. This community will enthusiastically support and encourage you as you finally prioritize your own happiness and well-deserved goals. This is perhaps the most precious and irreplaceable thing you must fiercely protect: your mental and emotional energy, because at your stage of life, chronic stress literally shortens your lifespan and destroys your quality of remaining years. Helen, a 75-year-old retired librarian from North Carolina, spent 2 exhausting years managing her son's messy divorce, lying awake nights worrying about his legal troubles, fielding screaming calls from his ex-wife at all hours, constantly trying to mediate explosive family drama, and spending her life savings on his attorney fees. Her blood pressure skyrocketed to dangerous levels. She developed severe anxiety and insomnia for the first time in her life. Her own 50-year marriage suffered as she obsessed over problems she couldn't solve, and her health deteriorated rapidly from chronic stress. Helen finally realized that her son's self-created drama was literally stealing her remaining healthy years and potentially shortening her life expectancy. Medical research is clear: chronic stress after age 65 significantly increases risks of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, depression, cognitive decline, and premature death. Your energy and peace of mind aren't renewable resources that magically replenish. They're finite and precious, becoming more limited with each passing year. The stress hormones released from constantly managing adult children's crises create inflammation, weaken your immune system, disrupt sleep patterns, and accelerate aging processes throughout your body. You've spent decades caring for others, raising children, possibly caring for aging parents, managing demanding careers, and serving your community. This phase of life should finally be about prioritizing your own well-being, mental health, and remaining years of peace. Adult children who consistently bring drama, crisis, chaos, and emotional turmoil into your life are genuinely toxic to your mental and physical health, regardless of your deep love for them. Protecting your peace might require limiting contact during their crisis periods, refusing to listen to repetitive complaints about problems they won't address, setting strict boundaries around when and how they can contact you, or temporarily cutting communication during particularly destructive episodes. This isn't abandonment or cruelty. It's essential self-preservation that protects your health and longevity. You cannot pour wisdom, love or support from an empty cup, and constantly depleted energy serves no one well. Set firm boundaries around emotional labor. You won't referee ongoing disputes between your adult children, won't lose sleep listening to constant complaints about self-created problems, and won't sacrifice your mental health for situations completely beyond your control. How much of your daily mental energy currently goes toward worrying about your adult children's endless problems? What dreams and activities would you pursue if that mental space were freed up for your own happiness? Your peace of mind is sacred and essential. Protecting it isn't selfish, it's survival. Remember Patricia from our opening? After implementing these 7 boundaries, her life transformed completely. She stopped the financial bailouts, established clear limits on childcare, and refused to co-sign any more loans. Initially, her children were angry and accused her of being selfish, but something beautiful happened over the following months. They became more resourceful, responsible, and genuinely appreciative when she did offer help. Patricia rebuilt her emergency fund, started traveling again, and most importantly, her relationships with her children improved because they were built on mutual respect rather than financial dependency. She told me recently, "I thought I was being a loving mother by saying yes to everything. I was actually being an enabler who was hurting both myself and my children. Your golden years should be exactly that, golden. You've earned the right to prioritize your peace, protect your resources, and pursue your dreams. Setting these boundaries isn't about loving your children less. It's about loving them enough to let them grow into fully functioning adults while preserving your own well-being. The transformation happens gradually, but it's real. Less stress, better relationships, financial security, and finally, the peaceful retirement you worked so hard to achieve." If this resonates with you, you're not alone. Thousands of parents are reclaiming their peace right now. Hit that like button if you're ready to set boundaries that protect your golden years, and share this with any parent who needs to hear this message today. In the comments, tell us which of these 7 things hit closest to home for you. Your story might help another parent realize they're not selfish for wanting peace. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell.